Greetings, beloveds, and welcome back to Sissy Spaceship here at Soul Stars of TVF. In this session, we are going to start out by going into the Seed and Sickle. And if I feel guided to go into any other decks, we will do so. The room and dwelling, actually, are pretty fragrant. Oop! These cards separated themselves, so I suppose this is where we begin. But yes, the dwelling is rather fragrant with the aromatics of amber resin and palo. So we can go ahead and actually get right into this message. Let's see what separated from the deck. We have Asphodel or Asphodel. I'm not exactly sure how that is pronounced. And then we have Verbena. Ooh, that looks like an eel. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be an interpretation of a dove or not. But we shall see. Let's go ahead and get right to what all of this means. We also have an angel number to take a look at in just a moment. Let's see what insights and teachable moments come with this first card. The Mazari, or Corsica, carry wands of asphodel, or asphodel, into the dream realm. There, they hunt the souls of locals in order to predict who will fall ill or die in the next year. Drawing this card is a sign that you too will have to make some big predictions soon. They'll have important effects on lives, so don't make them lightly, but don't take forever either, or someone may end up making them for you. And we also have verbena, a plant of attraction, known for its ability to compel docility in animals and kindness in people. This card is a sign that you're in the perfect position to build some new and positive relationships. It's time to win over new friends and widen your network. But don't be insincere about it. Just be yourself, and your determination and passion will shine through. Okay, so what it looks like here is an opportunity to build deeper connections with close ones. Even if that's someone that you just recently met, we'll say anywhere from the last few months to the last few years even. Ever since 2020, the opportunity to build deeper, stronger connections. Yeah. But if you don't start committing sincerely, you may lose the opportunity to do so. That was from the Dawn guidebook. Now let's go into the Dusk guidebook. For a bit more. In Corsica, where asphodel grows prolifically, and a person who has been gone from their homeland for a long time is said to have forgotten the asphodel. or asphodel. I have to look that up. But lately it's felt as though you're nostalgic for something long past, maybe an absent friend, an old place you used to go, or a food you haven't eaten for a while. Reaching out to that friend or recreating that time or place or visiting it if you can is exactly what you need to lift your spirits. Verbena is a historic plant of reconciliation and was carried by Roman and Persian ambassadors during peace talks. Not only did it represent compromise, but also defiance of one's enemies. Just because you're patching over a rocky situation doesn't mean that you're having to give up your agency in order to achieve an agreement. Stand your ground and make sure that you're heard too. All right, I'm feeling guided now to go into a different deck for a bit more detail on the urgency of deepening these connections. Now, just because these friendships were formed in just the last few months to the last few years does not mean that you may or may not have been acquainted for much longer. So, we're about to go into the details of that with, let's see here, we're going to grab the Kipper for more details involving the who, the what, the how, the where of these connections that are meant to be deepened at this time, or otherwise the collective may lose the opportunity to do so. Here we go. Whatever comes out, comes out. Both cards already down are the basis of the session. Bit more details on these connections, please. It turned over inside the deck. The first card out is unexpected income. So this could be a small one-time gesture, an energy exchange of some kind. It does not necessarily have to be monetary in value, but still of value. Yes. Can't forget we also have some angel numbers to look at, beginning with 3042. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that now, but we're not going to take a look at it yet, so that I don't forget to commit to my word here. So 3042. And we're going to go into manifestation in general for that number. All right. But back to the unexpected income card for just a moment. Okay. It's by itself. So this is an unexpected sum, or excuse me, a small sum from an unexpected source. It could be a bonus for your vocation. It could be a billing error that had to be fixed. It could be a reduction in a utility. It could be bonus minutes on your, like your month-to-month phone situation. So it's not as large as like sudden wealth, but the unexpectedness leads to a notion of suddenly, swiftly, and surprisingly. Okay. Something of good fortune occurring around everyday financial activities. It could also be a return in investments of your energy, regardless of how it was consumed, exchanged, or invested, willingly or unwillingly. I just heard. Yes. Unexpected changes and improvements in these connections as well. Improvement in money matters. I don't really like to go too much into the material world and the mundane currencies, but it just kind of goes along with the program. It goes along with the card. Yes, beautiful. Moving along. With a bit more detail pertaining to these connections that we're meant to deepen. A family room. So this involves like an entire collective of people here. A connection with a community or a collective that is meant to grow stronger. 1, 2, 3, 4. As I looked at the timer, definitely moving onward and upward. So it seems, even though it's like in the beginning it's going to be just in the form of like these small exchanges, but something tells me there's so much more that is going to grow from it, that is, again, unexpected. It's being discussed in this setting, but it is still unbeknownst to the collective. Before I go any further, we are going to go into this first angel number, 3042. I'm feeling guided to touch on primarily the manifestation aspects of this number, but also touching on love and vocation briefly. Spiritually, it emphasizes the importance of balance and inner peace, suggesting that by finding our equilibrium within ourselves, we can connect more deeply with the divine energies around us as well as others, beloveds. And this is a sign that we do know ourselves well enough to continue to grow and expand in other ways, including with others. Yes. Taking our time with these relationships to build strong foundations based on mutual values and interests. But also aiming more towards that unity consciousness, beloveds. Let's look into vocation. A sign that It is essential to maintain a professional and personal life balance. Always prioritizing our well-being and integrating harmony into even our vocations. So not just in our personal relationships, but also in our vocations. Involving twin flames, both of you are still working towards personal and spiritual development. But in terms of love overall and relationships, it's a reminder to encourage open and honest communication, mutual respect, and a reminder that the connection is to be nurtured, creating an even more solid foundation based on trust and understanding. We're being guided to embrace our loved ones' unique qualities. So it's not just about connecting with like-minded, with mutual interests, beloveds. What I'm getting is that it's more about fostering a win-win situation and atmosphere within our orbits, no matter what. Even with those that we may not consider them someone that we would spend like every hour of the day with, getting absorbed in specific mutual interests, but also connecting with others who may not have only mutual interests, because there could be lessons and even little golden nuggets of wisdom that can also be integrated for us, which in turn creates more expansion as we continue to activate this dormant DNA. Sometimes these interactions with others, with unity consciousness in mind, are still going to promote growth, because there's as much to learn from our uniquenesses as there is from our mutual interests and values. There is Source. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there that is. Yeah, moving along, we have another angel number. As soon as we slide these cards down into place, we have 2721. And we are going to take a look at it. 2721. We are on the right path. Having a heart of gratitude. Reinventing ourselves as well. Oh, goodness. My back is a little achy at the moment, beloved, so it's taking me a little bit longer to put things together with that little bit of a distraction. But I'm going to go work out the kinks after this. What's really standing out with 2721 to me at this time is remembering the worth of starting new adventures and trying new things. Telling us that even when it comes to relationships, be with someone ready to affirm our feelings as well. But this means that we're also responsible for receiving and reciprocating that gesture, like equal give and take. All sorts of unpredictable things can change the quality of our lives at any moment. But even if it starts out small, there's only one way to go from here, beloveds. Evidence of growth and the opportunity to grow even more came from unexpected income and is coming from some kind of unexpected energetic exchange. I'm feeling really drawn to the fern down here and the one here. Well, that's a palm, but we also have what looks like a fern right here, which is hard to see with the glare overhead. Give me just one moment, you loves. There we go. Oh, and then we still have the glare from the other overhead. So, we can still see the cards, so that's good news, and I can fix the wonkiness. There it is. Yes. A discussion that is unbeknownst to us that involves our growth in numerous ways. And it's like they have the real tea. They're serving the real tea. Like they truly have and sincerely have seen our growth from the maiden to the prima. Even if we do so with minimalism in mind in our own lives. Collecting stuff and what we know in terms of net worth is not important to us. Having security absolutely is important to us. But being filthy rich in terms of monetary, material relationships, it's not that big of a deal. But we're also not hating on the approach of having the ability to do phenomenal, beneficial things for the greater good of all. If that were the only way to make it possible, was with some kind of material, monetary relationship and exchange. But I just don't buy that. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying there are so many other ways to be reciprocal, beloveds. And there's something about how we don't even have to be present to own the room. There it is. We don't even have to be present to own the room. All right. Let's take a closer look at the family room for just a moment. I'm just going to do a little skimming. Whatever catches my eye. So more abstractly, it represents privacy and intimacy. So it's growth, but it is the type of growth that creates ripples in such a way that if it's not kept sub rosa, it could potentially create delays. So privacy and confidentiality upon the, receiving the news of all of this, these connections and what it's becoming is meant for us to keep private. Do not talk about it. If you need to get it out, go hug a tree and whisper to Tara. Just don't whisper too loud. Someone's always listening, All right. So there's that. Let's also take a look at that number in terms, I'm feeling guided to just look into the love and vocation as well today for some reason. So we are just going to go right on and do that. All right. So a message of balance, spiritual growth, and self-empowerment, encouraging us to cultivate meaningful relationships, connect with our spiritual essence, and embrace our own personal power. And yes, we can do all of these things. Simultaneously, beloveds. Being of service to others does not mean that we aren't allowed or capable of providing for ourselves energetically as well. But that's not the message. This is about these connections, and right from the get-go, it's like, what can we do in the now to strengthen the foundation of these connections? Or there may be an opportunity lost in the equation. Maybe not in every single connection, but in some kind of way. Bringing desires and intentions into reality. Thinking positively and visualizing what we want to attract. Okay, in terms of love, pretty close to the same as the last number, interestingly enough. Except now it looks as though the collective may be becoming the primary giver and the primary provider in some kind of way here. Because the collective is being called to listen to our instincts, trust our own heart as we're entering into a period of growth and expansion, even within romantic connections. Also having appreciation and gratitude for love in our lives. But yeah, it looks as though the collective is going to be the one taking the lead in this setting with these connections. But it's not like leadership, but just kind of like leading the conversation at first, or like leading the crowd to, you know, get more involved in these deeper discussions. You know, what makes a leader is not being, you know, better than another. It's just simply being the one to get started and to be that trailblazer and embrace it. Take the lead and embrace new opportunities with confidence, trusting our instincts that we are making decisions and will continue to make decisions based on healthy values and beliefs, our own healthy values and beliefs, so suggesting to find a place between, again, that personal and professional balance. Yes, a sign of even growth in our vocations, beloveds. It's unavoidable. Even if I didn't want to discuss the mundane material relationships, they keep cropping up lately. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Seeing this number in terms of twin flame connections means that you're ready to embark on a deeper spiritual journey together. But also, you still need that me time to continue with that self-development. It's as though both are going to be part of the journey. At the bottom of the deck, we have the journey card. And right behind that, we have great fortune. So this part of our soul's journey is leading to great fortune, just as I said about that unexpected income card. Let's take a look a little bit closer at the actual, like the meanings of the cards, and not just the primary. Beginning with the journey. Notice the wealthy man on the platform standing with his fine leather luggage not too far from the denizens of second class. All forms of transit, okay? So either becoming a wealthy man and going on a journey, or coming to know a wealthy man and going on a journey, or one of you is a man, at least one of you is a man who is about to become wealthy on this journey. Either way, it's time to start to take that next step forward, leaving the old and familiar situations, departing for new shores. Concerning work, family, and relationships, maybe it's also time to take a little trip. See, this card is dualistic because it can represent an arrival and a departure. So some of the collective could be meeting someone as they're coming in towards them. All right, now let's take a look at the number 26. The most enabling, powerful, and positive card. Signifying wishes coming true. Outstanding good luck or good fortune, depending upon your dialogue. Triumph, wealth, happiness, and fruitfulness. Everything's delightful and aligned with true purpose. Also turning any challenging cards to the significator's benefits, which is us. Nullifying any harmful effects and intensifying positive cards next to her. So intensifying the possibility of this connection that I just mentioned. All right, one more. Okay, one card just came out, and that is courtship. And we're going to continue this pass. And since no more came out, I'm going to reach right here to the card that is sticking out the most, and that is going to be the second card. So we have courtship, and we have, whoa. Whoa. A courtship leading to deeper connection. This is not necessarily romantic, even though it looks obvious that, you know, going right from courtship to marriage, that's a little nuts. But not always. I know of many situations where, like, people are still together after 10, 15, 20 years or longer, even in some cases, after just going with the flow in their own way, clearly. So, being open for a new person who enters our lives, meeting people and searching for new contacts, someone who will suddenly mean the world to us. In addition, an indicator for private and public meetings, which also came out in the family room card. So these cards are just solidifying whatever is being discussed in that family room. That's going to lead to great fortune and subtle connections that lead to deeper connections. With etiquette surrounding proper visiting and correct courtship. So it's going to be done correctly. It's going to be done right. Just as mentioned in the very beginning. It needs to be acknowledged soon, or the opportunity can be lost. But also taken slowly and steadily. Either way, no one's going backwards. No one's taking any losses. There isn't any challenge. There isn't any cause for concern. So it's all upgrades from here, beloveds, no matter what. That's what I see. It's all upgrades from here. Getting together socially, romantically, and for business reasons. And the closest card to it or touching it will give you clues as to what this is about and where it will lead. Well, for some of the collected, this is literally going from courtship to marriage. So congratulations. Yes, congratulations is definitely in order. Standing not only for literal weddings, but when combined with other cards involving relationships. Oh, combined with adjudication and lovers, or card 15, any kind of close contractual relationship, even a business partnership or joint venture. Well, there is some business involvement on the table with both of those cards. So, there's that much. So it could go either way. It could be vocational, business, professional, or just a strong platonic connection deepening. Like going from just being like pals to best friends in some kind of way. It does support marriage because nearby cards also support it. But it can stand for relationships, bonds, and friendships. It's good for relationships when it's ahead of the significator. But we're using the seed and sickle for our significators in this message, so I don't really see how that's going to be relevant at this time. It's not relevant to us. But either way, we are joining forces with others, even attracting opposites and finding agreements. Confirmation of what I was saying earlier about these connections not just involving mutual interests. Beautiful. But it can also, interestingly enough, should be suggesting a spring wedding. Well, we are just now coming into spring, where we are here in the Northern Hemisphere. So that can mean so many different things. But with expectation at the bottom, this is telling me anytime starting now and the next 3 months. Because that's what the card signifies. This is not me telling you that you have to, like, stop everything that you're doing and just not think about anything else except these connections. for the next 3 months. Behind that, we have main female. It's telling me that to some degree someone wants you to be their main, like whether it's in for vocational reasons, they want to be your sister bestie, or there is a gentleman coming in. Come on, ride that train. Yeah, ride it. Come on, ride that train. Yeah, ride it. Something's coming in. Regardless, that can only mean something positive in terms of growth, expansion, coming together as a collective and unity consciousness. Ooh, hold on, let me get my feather. I have to cover the statues, or the statue, but I do not have to cover the doves, the lovebirds, for the Lovers card. And one of my favorite numbers, number 15, for 15, 15, 15, which is the Christos numerology. Oh, and right behind that is the main male. So we're going to look at both the Lovers and the main male. What number is the Lovers? Oh, yeah. I just was saying that it is my favorite. So let's take a look at the main female and the Lovers first. Importance of open, deep, romantic love in her life, but also symbolizing innocence or hidden love with the white roses. And I meant to comment on that the last time this card came out, and I absolutely forgot. I mentioned the open flowers, and then I didn't explain why it was so significant. Well, I'm doing this now. I'm doing that now. Significant because it can be representative of innocence, or returning to innocence, or hidden love. So this card is also representing any females listening in. And because the main male is here, the main female is someone who is extremely important to the main male. And with the Lovers, it's talking about within this collective, you can find love and faithfulness, letting yourself be guided by your feeling and intuitions, an indication of love or falling in love. In professional terms, it may show a workplace, what I absolutely do not recommend. Not even under special circumstances, we do not hang the mistletoe at work. Period, poo-poos. But it can also mean that you love your work and that your heart and mind are in harmony with your vocation, the work you do. This is what I do, some of it, and I love what I do. There's an example. All right, now let's talk a bit more about this main male. Representing the querent if you are a male. Describing where you are at this moment in time, what you desire, and what you should be aware of. Encouraging you to look after yourself and integrate your partner without being selfish. And if this message is for a woman, he is an important man in her life. And I'm seeing a lot of romance in these messages, beloveds. A lot of love. So, the most important thing to do, because the significator energy of the message is reaching out before it's too late. Let's see what other insight. Toil and labor. This is a relationship. These are connections. This is a collective where everyone is going to have to put in the work. That is what I'm getting intuitively. And because we have great fortune on the table, any negative meanings to toil and labor have been neutralized and canceled out. So it is no longer a challenger, which tells me that instead of it being obligatory work that we get into, it's going to be more pleasant work, as well as personal pastimes and hobbies. We're going to be able to get into that more and enjoy it more with these connections coming together and strengthening. It's also giving me that we are clear of any kind of danger. We are not going to have any risk of losing any parts of ourselves in these connections, beloveds. And our good intentions will no longer be punished, if they were at all. Okay? Alright, let's draw this to a close with a couple more cards. Interestingly enough, 2 of them wanted to flip over. And because we have great fortune present, these 2 cards, any negativity and challenging energy to these cards has also been neutralized and transmuted into good fortune for us. Any messages of concern, especially anything that's considered official or from an official person, it is working out in our favor. no matter what. And with 22 on the table, we are going to ring the bell. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Very good. So what it's giving me is simply someone who at first and at a distance may have come off as unapproachable and intimidating. But because that's been neutralized, that is no longer a concern. I'm getting that the collective also has a huge chance of being the official person in the message, but in different ways and for different reasons. So he could have been someone who was gruff and forceful, or even a humorless person in the past, but that again has been canceled out and neutralized, beloveds. And it's telling me that they are the ones who are going to make this great fortune possible for the collective. But it's also saying that there will be some boundaries set within these connections, these collectives, communities, and other forms of connections involving no less than 2 people. And even if it represents a relationship coming together, there could still be like an entire collective of people involved in the intertwinings of that relationship as well. And an ambitious person that you have become acquainted with throughout your vocational experiences here. So that's a lot to wrap your heart around, beloveds. It just is. And a reminder that there are some boundaries that simply do not and will not budge in this setting. Everyone involved, even in the community and in the collectives, will be required to show reverence and respect to specific boundaries. But only you will know, and they will know what that means as it all comes together. Oh my gosh. Community at the bottom of the deck. So what was a message of concern is no longer a message of concern. I will say that much. Particularly just aiming to do better, moving onward and upward, especially involving these connections, the community aspect of it, the unity of it. Also an indication that the collective has been overcoming some minor issues, or some major issues became minor issues, but still being resolved in the favor of us as the collective. So this is a compromise within romantic and business relationships. Being ruled also as more of a win-win. Nobody is really losing. The collective is not losing anything. It's only growth and gains and expansion, great fortune. Now I'm hearing enough, just like before in the last message with the bat and the halo. That bat totem energy is extremely significant, but it's a good omen, beloveds, involving an entire collective, an entire community that is going to benefit from these connections being better acknowledged and strengthened. And we do have the support of a community and or a collective here. It's undeniable that good fortune card, great fortune card, cancels out any negative and challenging cards on the table. Any and all of them. A very enabling and positive card with the community card. Here we meet the cheerful and stoic working class. So building connections, beloveds, with all walks of life is what I'm seeing here without going into every little nitty-gritty detail. But it literally means friends and community. Abstractly about support, being understood, and finding that place where we belong. Our community is always there for us, and the timing of this card is ongoing. I just heard indefinite. It's infinite, indefinitely infinite. Well, I guess if it's infinite, it's defined by being infinite. So, yes, all forms of connections. Groups, unions, associations. Having good people around us from here on out. Family and true friends. Loyalty, cooperation, group efforts. Helping each other when needed. The love, and that is the message. I'm feeling guided to draw it to a close here. With, let's see, where to focus our energy at this time. I'm going to bring out the Seed and Sickle for a closing message. One card from the Seed and Sickle. Let's go to draw this to a close. Final message for the collective. Final message for the collective. None of them will be of any concern. No doubt. No more concerns. about anything that has already occurred. We have the crocus, number 38. Like the stubborn crocus that endures the thickest frost to bloom, you've always managed to find that part of you that is strong and unmoving when times have been tough. Beautiful. This part of us is a valuable ally. Try reaching for it even when we don't need it. Becoming familiar with it and employing its determination in our everyday lives. It will only benefit us. With this strength in hand, we can achieve anything. That's from the Dawn Guidebook. Now we're going to read the crocus from the dusk. Speaking up for ourselves can be one of the hardest things to do, particularly if we don't feel as though our opinion is worth being heard. But being assertive doesn't mean coming across as aggressive. We are simply letting people know what our needs are, what our boundaries are even, beloveds. It's that time to just make a bit more known. And this is how these connections get reaffirmed. And furthermore, even more fortified. Fortified in faithfulness, unity consciousness with that community card, and great fortune. Now is the perfect time to speak up about something that's weighing on us. We may be surprised by how it sets things on the path to change. Okay. I'm feeling guided to back it up a bit. Back to the Dawn Guidebook. For just a moment. Pay no mind to my cord as I need to plug in. Oh, and there we go. Moving the camera around. Dang it. There we go. Just needed to secure it. Feeling guided to go back to the Dawn Guidebook as though there is something that I meant to read twice. This part of us is a valuable ally. Try reaching for it even when we don't need it. Become familiar with it and employ its determination in our everyday lives. It will only benefit us. With this strength in hand, we can achieve anything. And that's the message. Thank you so very much for tuning in, beloved multiversal soul. Amelia. And from my heart chakra to yours, brightest of blessings.